Hi YouTube, and this is JTrain997, and I'm back this time with my review of the DC Universe Classic Series 14, Alan Scott the Green Lantern. Of course, Series 14 is a Walmart exclusive wave, and as you can see here in packaging, Alan Scott comes with his lantern, and the right leg of the Ultra Humanite, it would appear, and his collector's button, as you can see over here in the packaging. So a very nice looking figure. They've got the box kind of etched around him to make it look like the power ring constructs, I guess, or the energy emanating from the power ring. Of course, onto the back of the packaging here. His little write-up says, in 1940, railroad engineer Alan Scott came into possession of a green metal lantern created from a piece of the alien Starheart. The lantern spoke to Scott, instructing him to use the lantern's metal to fashion a ring which allowed him to create objects and devices out of solid green light. Scott took his newfound powers and adopted the crime-fighting identity of the Green Lantern, becoming a charter member in the Justice League Society of America. Justice Society of America, not Justice League. First appearance, All-American Comics number 16, 1940, real name Alan Scott, occupation crime fighter, base of operations Gotham City. Special abilities, ring generates hard light constructs, energy heat beams, causes dangerous objects to glow, allows Scott to pass through solid objects and survive in space. Of course, down here you have a picture of the Ultra Humanite once he's completed. Over here, the pictures of the other characters in the wave. Commandee, or however you'd like to pronounce it. I've heard different people pronounce it different ways. Todd Rice, or Obsidian, who is actually the son of Alan Scott. Tyr, Gold, Hourman, Zatanna, and himself. So, a fantastic looking figure. Let's pull this bad boy out of the packaging. And here we have Alan Scott out of the packaging. Real quick, here is the right leg of the Ultra Humanite. The button that came with Alan Scott popped out of the package and went flying across the room, so you already saw it. It's a button. There's nothing special about it. But let's get a quick 360 of Alan Scott here. A very nice looking figure. They did leave his... They do seem to have a little bit of paint error right here on the side of his face. Oops, dropped him. So you can see right there where the purple kind of ran. But it's such a very minor error. It's just me being nitpicky, honestly. But of course, his lantern, which is a little difficult to get out of his hand, but that is definitely a good problem. Better than it not fitting in his hand at all, I mean. As you can see here, there's actually some... Scoot this light back a little bit. There's actually some really nice detail on it. Of course, the handle does go forward and back. We'll set that over here and get Alan Scott standing up straight real quick. Of course. Boom, stand him up. Very nice sculpt. I think I would prefer they left the mouth closed. He looks just kind of shocked right there, but overall a great level of detail on this figure. I really think they captured his original appearance well. Of course, his ring, we'll zoom in as close as the camera will allow. So you can see a very nice representation of the ring as well. That's what I love about the DC Universe Classics line, especially with the Green Lantern figures. They do such a much better job of representing the rings instead of the DC Direct line, especially Blackest Night, where the rings are just a blob of colored plastic on their hand with no detail. Another small bit of paint error. There's a little bit of yellow right here on his cape. But honestly, paint error is going to happen in a line. Of course, his articulation. His head does a full 360, although you're going to have to fight this cape a little bit. Some up and down. His arms go out. Do a full 360. Spin at the bicep. Bend at the elbow. And of course, spin at the wrist. He has an abdomen joint, as you can see here. He turns at the waist. His legs go out, forward and back. Of course, some of his articulation is a little hindered by his cape, but not too much. Turns at the quadricep, bends at the knee, and has an ankle joint. So, let's get him put back up. Of course, Alan Scott is one of my favorite I love all the old school Justice Society characters. They're just so great. Now, of course, as I've already said, this line, at the time I'm making this video, is a little bit harder to find in stores. I'm sure it will get easier to find eventually. But Alan Scott is a great figure. They've definitely represented him well. All his accessories are great. His paint job is great with a very few small amount of paint details. Once again, the little splotch on his cheek, the little splotch on his cape. Very, very minor, and once again, every figure is going to be different. Some figures will have none, some figures will have more than this. It's just kind of a crapshoot. Make sure you look yours over well in the packaging. The DC Universe Classics line is running you $15 a pop. Well, I do think that's a tad much for figures. This is one of the lines that has definitely earned the right to that price. And I definitely recommend picking up Alan Scott. And this is JTrain997 saying I'll see you soon, YouTube.